Hello everyone, Mr. Lipchick here, and this block of instruction will be on measuring public opinion. We discussed how public opinion is shaped. Now how do we measure those opinions? There are several traditional methods for measuring public opinion that vary in their effectiveness. Political parties, national leaders used to turn to party officials in other major cities, but the declining role of these organizations has made this method difficult or ineffective. They used to go to the big party bosses, the cities used to be packed with people, and they would voice their opinions to the national leaders. This is kind of obsolete. Interest groups, politicians keep in touch with powerful interest group leaders. However, their opinions frequently do not represent those of the general public. They basically have an agenda, and that agenda might not be held by everybody else. And the mass media. Politicians monitor what is getting aired on television and other mass media. However, the media trends tend to sensationalize issues to get viewers. Letter writing. Interest groups use massive letter writing campaigns. However, if the letters are not personally written by a constituent, they will usually be ignored. They want to see if you care enough to take the time to personally write a letter to them about it. Electronic methods of contact, such as phone, email, or telegram, are used to make rapid contact with officials. And straw polls, which are unscientific polls done through radio, TV, or the newspaper. And the reason they're unscientific is that they are targeting a selective audience and not a representative one. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Okay, that's where scientific polling comes in. Okay, it seeks the most accurate examples. Today, scientific polling provides the most accurate methods for measuring public opinion, sometimes as close as within a percentage. There are 3 steps to scientific polling. 1. Find an accurate sample population. There is something called the universe. This is the entire group of people who are studied. Okay, it could be likely voters. From the universe, a representative sample or small group of people typical of those in the universe are found. The representative sample is chosen using a random sampling technique in which everyone in the universe has an equal chance of being selected. That way, you don't get everyone from one particular region where they're all Democratic or all Republican. Okay. And a cluster sample may be taken, organizing people by geographic divisions. That is another method. But nevertheless, they put all those, with a cluster sample, they compare all these geographic divisions together. And computer programs are used to randomly select phone numbers. They actually have tables and programs called randomizers. Number 2, part 2. You must phrase the poll questions accurately in a way that will measure the opinion that you are seeking to find out about. If the poll question is not phrased appropriately, you will not measure the opinion that you are seeking to learn about. It must be phrased very carefully. And then you must interpret the results using sampling error, with the knowledge that there will be a certain amount of error in any sample that you take. Every poll contains a sampling error, which is the likelihood that the sample will differ or not be typical of the universe. And this is usually plus 3% to minus 3%. That would be a typical poll. And a candidate may appear behind in the polls while actually is ahead. So, if you have a neck-and-neck race and somebody is ahead, looks, in the poll by a point, well, that probably doesn't matter much because there's a plus or minus margin of error of 3%. In interpreting scientific polls, it is extremely important to use data obtained by a professional polling organization, such as Gallup polls, Zogby International polls, Rasmussen reports, polls that are conducted by interest groups among their own members contain bias. That is, the opinions are slanted in a particular direction because of the nature of the group. If the NRA takes a poll among its people, of course they're going to favor, uh, deregulation of guns. And public opinion does have an influence on government. Government will respond in a democracy to what the public cares about. While public opinion is very important to government officials, it is not the only influence, however. Officials must follow their own personal conscience. And political parties and interest groups are also very powerful. In 1963, JFK made a nationally televised speech in favor of civil rights for African Americans. He was strongly advised not to do it, but he knew it was the right thing to do, and he did it. And he knew it would cost his party Southern votes, but his personal values motivated him to make the speech. That concludes our discussion on measuring public opinion. Thank you for viewing, and I look forward to seeing you in the live lesson. Have a great day.